More than any other island in Hawaii, the Big Island feels the most authentic. It has a raw freedom that has not been tamed. And every bay, hill, pile of rocks, breeze, and mountain has a story to tell. You just have to know where to look. I'm Ty Sawyer. I'm a traveler, writer, and a photographer. And I'm always on assignment. My work takes me to the planet's most remote, real, and raw outposts. In search of another shade of blue. They're some of the most mysterious creatures on the planet. They've been called devil rays. Early sailors feared them, and they can grow to 20 feet across. True giants. And we're going to get face to face with them at night in the open ocean. Crazy? Absolutely. I meet up with Jim Wing, a self-titled manta consultant, in Keauhou just before sunset. Jim, you got here 1991 when you first came to Kona, and you got fascinated with the mantas. How did that get started?
Well, initially we were at the Mauna Kea resort, and they had shined a light into the water, and we saw manta rays there. And then about a week later, we went to what was then the Kona Surf Resort, and we were having some cocktails looking at the ocean, and we saw some dark figures in the water. We realized that they were manta rays, and we thought, well, let's try to dive with them. And then we did, and once the manta rays became more accustomed to our presence, and it looked like they were going to be there on a consistent basis, then we started scheduling actual dives with them.
It's kind of nice looking out over the pool of people here, knowing that they've never had this adventure before.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like being able
that
to tell them that we're going to see something. It's very interesting, but they still have no idea what to expect. Right.
The farther the sun goes down, the higher the level of excitement rises on the hulakai. There's nothing like jumping into the ocean at night to set your senses on fire. Above us, the moon, stars, the lights from the Sheraton Keauhou. I can even see my room from here. All things I know and understand. But once I slip below the surface, I'm just part of the food chain. I think Jim was right. These people have no idea what they're about to experience, but it's going to blow their minds for sure.
So you guys are in for a real treat tonight. The reason the manta rays come here is because we've mounted lights on the building and shined them into the water. Light causes zooplankton to concentrate, and that's what manta rays eat. So over the last 20 years, what we've done is condition the manta rays to associate light with plankton, and we've been very successful at doing that.
Most of my fellow shipmates will snorkel. I'm going to scuba dive to get a better angle on the scene. I use a waterproof housing for my camera and 2 big strobes. When the first manta shows up, a ripple of energy rushes through everyone on the boat. It's really going to happen. Big smiles, mask, trepidation on some of the guests, but we're all committed. And I'm ready to go play in the dark. The lights each of us carry, and the lights placed on the seafloor, attract the plankton that the mantas eat. We're essentially fishing for mantas with light. You don't really see the manta appear from the darkness. You feel it and hear or sense the collective gasps of the other people in the water as they see it for the first time. It's Star Wars meets Close Encounters meets the Abyss, and we skip the ringside seat and take our place in the middle of the action. Lights stab at the darkness. The manta somersaults and sweeps through the plankton stew with its mouth agape. It passes inches from all of us, never touching. It's clearly their world. In the middle of it, you forget to breathe. I almost even forgot to shoot. And the whole time I'm thinking, am I really still on Earth? I look up and see all the snorkelers looking down at the mantas. And I know that the people on shore watching this scene unfold, are wishing they were in the water too. Back on the boat, there was no shutting any of them up. All they could go on and on about was how magical it was, what an incredible experience it was, how life-changing it was, and how it was the most unforgettable thing they'd ever done.
Great. A couple of manas, mama mana and baby mana.
Oh, that was phenomenal. Couldn't believe it.
Oh yeah, that was
Something
really
so
cool.
graceful. It was just so powerful. That was so fun.
Awesome, man.
It was fun.
Right up close, right by all of our people. Every single night, with whatever light spills into the water along the shores of Kona, they do this dance whether we're there or not. But it's certainly better to be there to watch it. You really have to do this at least once in your life. I'd never seen a pins truck, but I want one because I know the next time I'm stuck in traffic, I could just roll over everyone and not even know it. I'm pretty sure this six-wheeled vehicle could even climb a tree. So when Rob Pacheco tells us we're going to see some secret waterfalls and sacred Hawaiian lands off the beaten path, I believe that this path he's talking about exists only in his mind.
The genius of these machines is the gearbox that's right underneath your feet. It's a big, huge, long thing that's made out of jet aluminum aircraft. Very light, but it actually can bring power to all six wheels, and it actually can take almost all the torque to one wheel that gets traction. And you shift it in, it's with hydraulic levers here, so we don't have any gears to mesh or anything like that. Hey, this baby will go. We only need one wheel up front right now.
Rob knows everything, it seems, about the Big Island's natural and cultural history. His company, Hawaii Forest and Trail, takes travelers to the raw, little-seen heart of this island. You definitely won't find the places we're about to see on any postcard.
Wow, nice view.
And we're probably going to get dirty and wet. And that's just what I'm looking for. So this place we're going to,
It's a spring, and that comes out of the ground and enters a cave. And the cave was augmented. It was built up to create a better flow by the plantation workers. So this was all done by the plantation workers, but there was an incredible manipulation of water in this land here.
and when did that take place? What year?
It was all in the 1800s.
Wow. All right, so what's the significance of this again, Rob?
Well, for me, what it is, it's one of these last remnants of the evidence of these incredible manipulations that the Hawaiians and then the plantation planters did on the groundwater here.
Right, so it doesn't look like much. There's a little bit of water bubbling up right here. There's a big hole in the wall back here, and it looks like a little ditch in the middle of the forest, but pretty important. Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's see where it falls out.
Yeah, we'll check it out down below where it comes out of the cave.
So this is the other side of where we just were.
That's right.
Standing up there, right?
Yeah, we were at the top of the falls, now we're at the base of the falls.
Ah, nice little mini falls here. And look at that, there's another tunnel stretching off to that side.
That's right. Big room actually in there. You can see where they dug trying to find another spring that would come out. They probably had seeps in there they're trying to get.
Rob takes me over the river, through the woods, to an ancient taro patch. This taro patch has been cultivated since before there was any such thing as 13 original colonies. These pools have literally been feeding people for hundreds of years. And of course, Rob knows the story.
People don't realize this when they come to Hawaii and they try the poi. And they kind of make fun of it and everything. But you know what? Eating poi is one of the most Hawaiian things that you can do, connecting yourself. The Hawaiians believe that the kalo is their ancestor. The first human born was actually stillborn, and the parents planted it outside the house. Their second child, Kane, was born, and after that a plant grew up, the kalo,
taro.
haloa. And haloa is the firstborn of the Hawaiian people.
I kept looking at the taro, a bunch of low-lying taro plants, thinking, how do I shoot this? Wait till you see how this looks. The light coming through all these leaves. It's pretty magical. How do I tell the story of the taro? Give it the importance that it has in Hawaiian culture. I wanted to take an intimate peek into the world of the taro and its meaning for the Hawaiians, and getting right down into it worked the best.
So it looks really nice through these big
Yeah,
trees.
yeah, how it frames the
up
waterfall. Very nice.
So this is a nice waterfall, Secret Falls. And we were up at the top earlier, right?
We were right at the very top.
Looks clean enough to swim in.
So Secret Falls, it's right around 80 feet high, but it's always wispy, you know, and even when it's real low water, it's still very picturesque.
I like to tame waterfalls with my photography. Water tumbles and sprays and crashes and makes a ton of noise in the process. You can hear waterfalls before you even see them. So I like to turn all that power into grace. The rough thunder and tumble of the water into strands of elegant silk. Moving water has a primal roar and a refined heart, and seeing waterfalls and streams in places such as this is experiencing the joy of freedom. And I'm trying to capture it all and to tell that story.
And I've been coming to Hawaii for a lot of years, and I think of all people I've ever met that know as much about this land, I think you probably know more than anyone I've ever met. I mean, the names of the trees, the valleys, the mist, the history, what each mountain is called, all of it. It's been kind of amazing. And the name of this waterfall?
This is what we call waterfall number 2.
Waterfall number 2? Is there a Hawaiian name for that?
The stream is Opai Pilau, which means the stinking shrimp. But
The stinking shrimp.
there's too many waterfalls on this stream to name, so
Right.
it's just one waterfall after another, a big staircase.
And we're right here by the stinking shrimp stream and number 2 waterfall, so you know how this is going to end.
After all the sweating and hiking, it was time to put the camera down, go Hawaiian, and jump in the water. For how many hundreds of years has this pool offered respite for Hawaiians? I don't know, but it sure feels nice right now. Know Hawaii through its unique music and dance, and on Kona, it's everywhere. I even stumble across some on the sacred grounds that surround the Sheraton Keauhou. I ran into a youth hula halau, which is a school for the art of hula.
Okay, so Hunter, it goes 1, 2, 3, and then out.
To see kids learning the authentic tradition of the hula, and not just learning, but loving the experience, speaks directly to the rising importance of Hawaiian culture in Hawaii. I can't pronounce the name of their halau, believe me, I tried.
Kala'akea kawi kavea Q.
No.
Kala'akea kau
Ikaveku.
ikavea Q.
Kaveku.
Kavea Q.
Q, like the letter Q.
Q.
The kids made fun of me, of course, but whether I could pronounce their halau or not, this dancing moves me.
You didn't get it the first time? That's hardly fair.
It's not the prefab hula you find at most luau's, but the kind that when the dancers finish with their meke, their song, they weep because they've danced it through their heart. And the mountains above Hawaii town is where we're headed next, to meet 2 world-class musicians profoundly inspired by the mana, the spirit of this big island. You'd think that an icon like master guitar and ukulele maker David Gomes would live in a compound, but that's just not Hawaiian. He still works in a studio behind his garage, and we simply drove up to his house above Kohala town to see where the magic happens.
I've been in this location since '95. It's kind of where I established my, reputation.
Gomes is part of a musical tradition with distinct Hawaiian roots, slack key guitar, which began on the range with Hawaiian cowboys, paniolas, talking story with music. and he builds each guitar and ukulele by hand, and they produce such a pure sound that you hear it with your emotions. And he's got a backlog of orders several years long.
Ta-da!
After watching him bend the wood that will make a ukulele, Gomes picks up one of his guitars and played for us, right in his wonderfully dusty, art-making, Kua wood-smelling studio. This is when I know it's time to quit talking and just listen.
Yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why people come to David Gomes to get a guitar made. That was incredible. That was incredible.
Just up the road from Gomes is the home of Grammy Award-winning slack key artist John Kaivi. He lives directly across from his childhood home, so his roots are deep on these grounds. There is only one way to photograph Kaivi: on the front porch, where it all started for him. And even as we set up our cameras, he sat on the stoop of the house he grew up in and played. Of course, Kaivi plays on a Gomes guitar. My crew and I got a chance to sit with him and have a one-man command performance sitting on his front lawn beneath a beautiful blue Hawaiian sky.
I want to know a little bit about the connection of the music to the land, to your culture, to how you tell a story.
I wasn't raised Hawaiian, but it's in my blood.
Right.
You know, and I found out my grandfathers played because I didn't meet any of my grandfathers. Both of them passed away before I was born. So then I started asking my parents about the stories, and they shared with me that they would sit on the porch, my grandfathers, and just play into the night.
I've always been struck by true geniuses of any medium. My soul seems to open up around them.
You know, slacky, it's a very heartfelt kind of music. So music seems to match the lyrics. It's very deep. You know, that's the only word I can use. It's very deep, and
It tells a story.
It tells a story, and this is actually the first song I ever attempted to write, and it just speaks about this whole area, Kohala, and so I'll play a little bit for you.
I would love it.
His music is his personal journey in life, and to listen to it is to know just a little bit more about both Kaivi and Hawaii.
I've lived here in Kohala. It's here that I was born. Now I'm getting older, got a family of my own. I've seen a lot of different places. Nowhere can I find the gentleness of Kohala. Whatever I may do, my thoughts are always deep within you. Kohala, I love you. Kohala, I love you.
That night, we hit Bamboo to see Kaivi live and to drink a few Mai Tais to celebrate our day of music and dance. And no need to limit the drinks, because the next morning, we were getting up early with Kona coffee legend and keeper of the Aloha Flame, Mama Lily Kong. The thing I like about old people, they're like libraries, storehouses of knowledge, and the things in life that really matter. My day started with the 88 years young Mama Lily Kong, who grew up on Keauhou Bay and runs and owns a Kona coffee plantation with her family. Mama Lily tells me about the Menehune people that live in the trees that line Keauhou Bay.
The picture that you're going to see today is this tree with a little baby on the side.
Really?
In her home, she shows me the photo. Now, I don't see the Menehune people in her photo, but who am I to argue? Then we go into the coffee plantation. Mama Lily doesn't sit back and oversee this plantation. She gets out and still does the day-to-day. You eat it like this?
Yeah, try. Sweet.
Oh, it's sweet.
Sugar sweet.
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like the blossom smell.
Well, I think so, because that's why the honeybee is
That's good.
close by. A lot of honey.
An avocado tree. Wow.
Yeah, avocado all falling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huge ones.
Oh, you should see the one at the house. It's like a bowling ball. So,
Like a bowling ball.
yeah, that's what my friends call it, the bowling ball. So let's walk this side.
Okay.
So
Floaters,
some of it.
which means
Which means that it's no good for
no good for coffee.
no good for beans. So I don't want to waste my time
Making marginal coffee.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Right.
For lunch, we head up to Tashima's. This local South Kona eatery on the Mamalahoa Highway has been in business for more than 81 years and is run by a tack-sharp 102-year-old woman named Mama Tashima. After chatting for a while, working my way through the puffy shrimp tempura and other Japanese delicacies, and discovering that her memory is much better than mine, I asked her the secret to long life. Without hesitation, she says, never stop working. Never stop with life. Good advice for anyone contemplating retirement. There's a Hawaii that exists right in front of us. The one on the postcards, the one that you know about even before you visit. And then there's the real Hawaii. You have to look behind the words of places such as Keauhou Bay where we stayed, which means new beginning because it's the first place the sun touches on the Kona side. You have to look past the tourist hula to find the heart and soul of this authentic dance. You have to listen to the stories of the old people and peer below the surface to watch the curtain part that reveals a manta. And for me, as a storyteller, that's the reason why I keep returning again and again to this unique corner of the world. Because so much of what drives me to travel and discover and find another shade of blue exists everywhere on Kona, if you just know where to look.
Nice. I totally want to do this. We're gonna have to come back and jump.
Everywhere I go, I try to get to the heart, the essence of a destination, as quickly as I can since I don't usually have much time to find it. Champagne will help, and I know exactly where to find it on this wonderful island. I've been coming to Grand Cayman since 1983. For me, it's like coming home. And like all homecomings, it doesn't take me long to transform and get back into the local groove. But I'm still not where I want to be. I can see it. I can even smell the salt air. And if my pores could salivate, they would. Because I'm here, at the Pulse. We search the world for the real and the raw and authentic. But everything in the Cayman Islands that's real and raw and authentic is right here around me, in the water, and that's what we're gonna explore. I'm Ty Sawyer. I'm a traveler, writer, and a photographer. And I'm always on assignment. My work takes me to the planet's most remote, real, and raw outposts. In search of another shade of blue. Georgetown, the capital of Grand Cayman, is the cosmopolitan hub of the three islands that make up this island nation. You'll find restaurants, t-shirt shops, local crafts, bars that play Buffett and Bob Marley, duty-free shopping, and in Cayman, banks. Piles of them. But we have more important matters. Rum.
Well, I don't know how we did it, but they just let us into the 7 Fathoms Rum distillery here, and there's nobody here to watch us. It's just you and me. And we've got this great old still here that looks like a museum piece from the 1920s or something that Al Capone had in his basement. And so I think it's gonna make a great shot.
I wanted to spend the rest of the day sampling, but drinking and diving don't mix, and there was a shipwreck I had to see first. To get to the wreck, I first had to get off the grid. The electric grid, that is. Lots of places say they're green, but Lighthouse Point, where I met my friends Jay and Nancy Easterbrook, almost makes enough electricity to share with the Cayman Utility Company. But I'm here to dive. And the reason I'm even going to dive Cayman's newest shipwreck is because Nancy is not a woman to back down from a challenge. So we can't have a better guide than the woman who has spent the last 8 years with this famous sailor. We can even see the wreck from the surface, and I've never dived the USS Kitty Wake, so it doesn't take much coaxing to get me in the water. Wrecks always impact me the same. I see stories, and in water this clear, I see lots of them. We start with a slow free fall down the stack, sinking into the below decks area. These decks are silent now, but once hummed with the movements of a crew of 100. I'm lucky. Nancy will take me literally everywhere one can penetrate on the ship. We start with the engine room and wind through the working heart of the ship. I follow Nancy deeper and deeper into the bowels. We take photos along the way, of course, but for Nancy, these are more family portraits than shipwreck shots. We take our time, Nancy savoring each inch of our route like a fond memory. We continue as far as we can go, right to the narrow end of the bow. The Kitty Wake looks as if it's embracing Nancy. As we wind back out, we take a break at the sleeping quarters and then check out the recompression chamber. Back outside the wreck, the Kitty Wake looks magnificent and austere as it looms over us. I think as I dive alongside Nancy that after 8 years of working on finding, preparing, and getting the Kitty Wake ready to sink, that each time she dives this ship, she's swimming through 1,000 emotions. Each deck and bulkhead a reminder of what it took to sink the Kitty Wake. We ascend up the bow almost caressingly in our movements, making our way down the deck as if we were casually strolling through a living sculpture garden, which is really what the Kitty Wake has become. We make our way to the pilot house, where I have to shoot Nancy behind the wheel, the last captain of the Kitty Wake. Every day, the story changes when the sea is involved. Marine life moves in, growth starts to change the profile from man-made to the whimsical shapes of the ocean. New stories are growing, new life, all because of Nancy. On the bow, while I'm taking her photo, Nancy can't help but to spread her arms as if to introduce her baby.
She's a beauty.
She is. Gets pretty every day.
She does. All that marine growth, all the fish moving in and that. Oh, just absolutely loved her.
Underwater, as I followed Nancy around the Kitty Wake, I had lots of questions I couldn't ask. So we hurried back to Lighthouse Point just as the sun was setting to get the stories. For you, it was an 8-year ordeal.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of the quick and dirty on all the reasons why you stuck with it for so long and why it's so important for the Cayman Islands. And
It was the brainchild of the Cayman Islands Tourism Association. A bunch of people in water sports got together and said, okay, what can we do? The diving's great, the walls are beautiful, but you know, you always got to reinvigorate your product a little bit. So we said, wow, let's sink a ship.
because sinking a ship just sounds so easy. Let's just go grab a ship and pull the seacocks out and let it sink, right?
That's right. We were going to be done. So we finally found a source of maritime administration, MARAD, in the U.S., and they just announced this program that people could get ships donated to them, counties, states, countries, for the purposes of artificial reefing. So, oh, that's great. They're going to donate the ship. We're going to do this for free. But when we saw the Kitty Wake, it was like, there's our ship, 251 feet, perfect size for the Cayman Islands, submarine rescue vessel, very, dive-centric, and recompression chambers on board, and a big diving bell, and the diving locker, just everything about it. So this is just the perfect ship for us, So we finally got it to the point where we got the approvals, we got the transfer of the ship to the Cayman Islands government, and that was in August of 2009. That's when we finally took possession of the Kitty Wake.
So really, after all that 8 years, it came down to about 7 or 8 months of cleaning time, and then delays, and then the sinking.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know, in this entire process, this entire 8 years, what was the most satisfying moment in sinking the Kitty Wake that you had? A heartwarming moment? Was it sinking when the ship actually went down and the final bubbles came up? I mean, what was the thing you remember the most about it?
She was pretty low in the water to start with, and then just, continuing to go down. So she was going down so nice, and just a little bit rocking one side or the other, and then all of a sudden, just at the last moment, up comes her bow, and she starts to look like she's going to go over a little bit, and just sitting there like screaming inside, no, don't you roll, don't you roll, don't you roll. So then she, she went down, and it looked like she readied herself. Well, of course, there's so many bubbles, so much air still escaping up.
Right.
So we just jumped off the boat and jumped in the water, and looking through the bubbles and looking through the bubbles, and like just about ran into the ship. It was about 4 feet underneath the water. It's like, there she is, and she's standing upright, and it just, so that had to be, like,
The moment
done.
when the bubbles cleared,
Yeah.
it was sitting there on an even
Sitting
keel.
there on an even keel.
Now I'm done.
Yeah.
Let me go back, take a nap.
Party time.
Party time.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting to have a wreck down here, and you said you've had about 8,000
Yes.
divers so far?
8,000 divers so far, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. And as the word gets out and more people come and the economy improves, this thing is probably going to be crawling with divers.
That's the plan.
8 years, Nancy? Nice work. If Georgetown and 7 Mile Beach is where the action is on Grand Cayman, the East End is where time stops. We arrive at Ocean Frontiers just in time to catch up with co-owner Steve Broadway, whose passion helps fuel the Dive 365 initiative. I try to sneak a new dive site name onto the mooring ball. The mooring ball is what's used to mark the dive site and allow boats to hook up to it without dropping a reef-damaging anchor. Soon, there'll be 365 mooring balls in the Cayman Islands, one for every day of the year.
I mean, there's a few goals and objectives of why we're doing this. One is to eliminate anchor damage,
Right.
and remove the need to be dropping a hook on any sites. And then the big environmental scientific interest is we have enough dive sites where we can rest some sites.
Right.
So we can take some moorings out and rest.
Let the marine life start to
Just leave 'em
regenerate
alone,
and leave them alone. And
Yeah. So no matter whether weather, visibility, there's always one area
That you can dive.
That's got good diving. So it really, really makes extremely flexible year-round diving.
And also we have lionfish hunting.
They were isolated and small for the first year or so, and then they started getting bigger and bigger, and we couldn't keep up. We were catching them with nets. Early this year, the Department of Environment gave us permission to use spears to catch them. And this afternoon, we should have a big score. We're going to a site where we know that we haven't done a dedicated hunt there. So
Right.
we expect to get some big numbers this afternoon.
Oh, and I know we're going to take some of the lionfish that we catch here with you.
Yep.
Let the chefs have at it and see how this lionfish tastes.
Most chefs love, once they understand that once the spines have been cut off, they're just like any other fish at that point. They're not poisonous, they have venomous spines. There's a big difference. So you cut the spines off, and the fish is safe to eat as anything else.
What Steve didn't tell us is how these pretty little beasts invaded the Caribbean. Lionfish are endemic to the Pacific Ocean, not the Caribbean. The way the story goes, and there are many, is that several lionfish escaped when Hurricane Andrew passed through Florida and broke the large dockside aquarium they were living in. Lionfish are voracious eaters, and they're even more voracious breeders. It's slamming out up to 2 million eggs per year, and they're able to spawn every 4 days. But now, they're the greenest of the green fish to eat, and this is war. With us is Sean, the Lion King. Because lionfish are so adversely affecting the ecosystem, devouring juveniles of other species, and because nothing preys on them, dive masters in Cayman are issued spears and the orders to kill first, eat later. Sean is a lionfish nightmare, an eco-warrior, a skinny, red-haired version of the Terminator. In fact, I've no idea where he even is. He hit the water and lit off on the hunt. It's a big ocean with lots of nooks and crannies, and by the time I find him, his catch tube is stuffed with dinner. The battle seems Sisyphean. The Caribbean Sea is approximately 1,063,000 square miles, with more than 20,000 miles of reef. The Cayman Trench is more than 25,000 feet deep, and lionfish are going at it like porn stars. But if there's any living creature that has proven expert at eradication, it's us. And if they're good to eat, then their demise in the overfished Caribbean is absolutely certain. With the killing spree thankfully over, we get back to celebrating the marine life. And as if on cue, a green sea turtle spots us and says, "Hey, look at me!" And then he works it, posing in front of all of us, including the video crew. I feel like capturing moments of life rather than death is somehow cleansing. And even though I understand why there's a scorched earth policy for lionfish, an odd grip of guilt is still on me as I watch the turtle swim happily away, alive. What a nice turtle. Came to play with us for a while. I think we got everybody in the picture for that. As I wipe my camera dome, I decide I must embrace the change. Lionfish are invasive, harmful, and now they're food. Sometimes doing good looks like this. There's a lot of places to eat in an urbane town like Georgetown. From a casual island eatery for people looking for the familiar, to restaurants whose chefs craft memorable cuisine for discerning tastes, even if those discerning tastes are hungry tarpon. And as appealing as a seaside wine bar always is to me, tonight I'm in for a different eating experience. We're gathered here at the Guy Harvey Island Grill for the first annual Lionfish Smackdown. I introduced the secret ingredient to the chefs, and the chef-style stare-down says their game faces are on. In this corner of the kitchen, hailing from the UK, we have Island Chef Keith Griffin prepping for lionfish tempura with a tangy kimchi broth. Up next from Jamaica, Chef Romeo Masco will be putting his stamp on lionfish escovitch with an aromatic garlic pumpkin puree. And finally, from the tea-laden hills of Sri Lanka, Chef Indika Kumare will be spinning out lionfish salad with mango and avocado salsa flavored with my favorite, truffle vinaigrette. 3 chefs at the height of their culinary powers, ready to rumble. Chef Indica preps the lionfish, gets rid of the venomous spines. He's focused on weaving his culinary magic. After all the spines are gone, the lionfish is just a fish, flaky white meat, and Indica starts to take command of his section of the kitchen with fillet, slice, dice, poach, and chill. Chef Keith's camera ready. He moves through the kitchen like a cat. Total economy of motion, no extraneous movements. That was incredible. And you can't go wrong with bacon and onions.
Oh, it's one of those flavors. Now, even if you've just eaten, you smell cooked bacon and cooked onions, you're hungry again.
Chef Romeo lights up the kitchen, literally, with fire, color, action, and his Jamaican savoir-faire. Women, beware of that smile. The pace in the kitchen is controlled chaos. Keith corrals his broth.
Some bok choy, some Asian cabbage. It looks like a lot of cabbage, but it kind of shrinks down as it cooks.
And how is this going to mix in with the
We're just going to tempura the lionfish. We're going to put this on the base of the plate and just sit the lionfish on top.
Okay.
So the lionfish will be crispy. You have that crispy fresh fish, and then this spicy aromatic Asian style sauce underneath.
Maintaining his focus, Chef Indica's piecing together his ceviche. I'm bouncing off the walls trying to keep up with these kitchen warriors. The lionfish is transforming from beautiful beast into culinary art. Then out comes the secret ingredient, truffle. Oh, yum.
God, that smells so good. This is going to turn me into a cook as well as a diver.
The gladiators bring out their weapons of flavor, and I learned the secret of tempura, soda water.
See how that just picks up that batter? And we're going to go in that pan there.
Put in a little salt and pepper on it.
Okay.
A little salt. And actually I'm going to put a dash of flour on it. And saute a little bit.
From saute to the oven. Ladies, Chef Romeo's bringing it.
And then I'm going to put her in the oven and cook her slowly.
With people waiting in the restaurant, the chefs start plating. My stomach's growling. It's like semi-controlled bedlam, a three-ring circus, fast and furious, as three master chefs transform food into art. In this case, using a fish that's plentiful, and that's pretty rare.
It's a French classic.
Voila. If the lionfish is good, there's a whole lot more waiting to get in the hands of master chefs like these.
All good to go.
Dangerous to delicious.
3 chefs, 3 dishes, 1 hungry host. Time to face the judges. We invited about 20 hungry locals, all waiting for their first taste of lionfish. Chef Indica introduces his lionfish salad, tangy, truffled, tasty dish. Then Chef Romeo introduces his dish with the same charm and flair of his cooking, piquant, succulent take on lionfish. Chef Romeo then presents Chef Keith's tempura with slightly less flair. Chef Keith had to run off to another gig, but his lionfish sparkled. The best?
So I'd like to thank all of you guys once again for coming to our Cayman Islands Lionfish Smackdown. But I really can't come up with a favorite because I like them all. But cheers to lionfish. And what Romeo said, I want to echo, from dangerous to delicious. Cheers, everybody.
I've traveled the world trying to make images of lionfish, a fish that my camera loves, a fish with a singular beauty, long, delicate fins, and striking colors that look great in magazines. They look like a collection of swimming ribbons with venom. I've certainly never thought about eating them. But in Cayman, they're game changers in the ecosystem. I've personally never been a hunter, except with my camera, but the world is shrinking, changing. To paraphrase what Isaac Asimov said, the dominant factor in society is change, and we must deal with the world not as it is, but as it will be. My trip to Grand Cayman inevitably was about change. We sink ships as artificial reefs to initiate a change in the undersea environment. We install mooring balls to protect our natural reefs. And now we eat lionfish because we've looked at the world as it will be, and we must. And they're dang tasty, it turns out. Every year I return to Grand Cayman because its one constant is change. The sea, the reefs, the marine life are never the same. Is it better than it was in 1983 when I first came? I don't know. It's just different. And the lionfish I now photograph looks just as pretty on the end of that spear.